Hi, this is Knitting Brow. I wanted to give you an update on my slip stitch cable socks, which are from the little box of socks. I am really enjoying knitting them, and I'm actually really enjoying the little box of socks. There's some really wonderful things in there, and I haven't mentioned this before, but one of the great things is that all of the patterns come like this, and gosh. Single sock pattern on this. It's sturdy. It goes into the knitting bag pretty nicely. So I'm happy with that. So let me show you what I have done. So I have been working on these socks. Oops, excuse me. There we go. And I have two socks. All right, this is how far I am with the socks. Now, what's happened is they don't really fit. They're too snug, and they're too snug for a couple of reasons. One is the pattern. This slip stitch cable is beautiful to look at, but the way I'm knitting it, I'm knitting it just a little too tightly, so it does not have as much give as I want. Especially, I mean, I tried to pull it around my ankles or my heel, and I was able to do that. So the problem comes with the fact that I really, really love this yarn, but I'm not loving it in this pattern. So I think what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be unknitting these and actually doing something like this, and this, and this. And I will be unwinding these socks, frogging them, because you hear that? Rip it, rip it, rip it. Yeah, that's the sound of frogging. Rip it, rip it, rip it, rip it, rip it. So I'm going to do that with the intention of going back and looking at a plain sock pattern for this. Now, I will have, granted, I was using a size, okay, this calls for a size US 4. I was using a US 2. And this yarn itself, you know, I like to get as firm of a fabric as I can for my socks. And I like this yarn on this needle because it's very, very firm, but not in this pattern. So, what you supposed to do? So I'm kind of back to square one with that. However, I am going to be able to put these back into one of these nifty little yarn cakes, so that I will be able to cast on another pair of socks. However, this time I'm going to do a gauge swatch. I'm going to use this. I'm going to check a gauge swatch and just knit around in stockinette stitch, because I'd like to see what the yarn does itself. Because, you know, one of the great things is I really love how it worked here in the rib. I thought that was great. Well, we'll see. But so I am certain that you have one time or another, have had to go back and actually pull or rip your socks out. You know, granted, I could have done a gauge swatch, but I didn't, so that was Knitting Brow error. Well, that's what I'm doing, and I'm hoping that I will be able to show you a new sock, a new pair of socks going with this. It may be a simple vanilla pair just to allow the sock yarn to be wonderful. So, enjoy your colorful loops of daily living. Bye.